Absolutely. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. And if we were involved in that meditation, we're the ones giving that love, sweet love. First to ourselves and then to others. And when I'm doing that, I'm feeling the divine feminine within me activated. I think we've gotten out of balance as a species, and we've become so male and masculine energy oriented that we forget the love, sweet love. You know, we're always so determined to get things done, and the love of the protector and the love of the one that goes out and makes things happen and builds things and does all these other masculine kind of actions in the world, right? The yang energy, you know. What about the yin? What about the feminine, the sweet love, the nurturing, the caring, the comforting love, the healing love? The divine feminine lives in each of us. We are both, all of us, male and female, everyone. Doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. You are male and female, no matter who you are. And so unity has a long-standing tradition of recognizing the divine in both Father and Mother. We say Father, Mother, God. The Bible tells us that God is spirit, and that we have to worship or commune, realize God. I think worship is more like realization or living as. So, your life is the worship. And so we need to also be in spirit. We need to worship or live our lives in spirit and in truth. This means the Spirit of God will manifest equally in every aspect of creation. If God is spirit, then obviously it has no gender. It's not male or female, it's spirit. But it manifests through us in a way that human beings can understand. And so in order to really, truly experience and understand the divine in us, we will experience it as both male and female. In modern religious dogma, however, Father has become the symbol of God, ignoring the feminine aspect almost completely. It's Father God, Father, Father, Father. Even in the Course in Miracles, which I love to teach and follow and practice, it's Father and brother and He, all through the whole thing. And quite often, I stop and take the time to reinterpret it in a gender-neutral way or a gender-inclusive way. So it's both Father and Mother and neither, that it's Spirit. And that's really important that you do that in your mind, because it helps you to evolve spiritually, to be doing these exercises in your mind. Because words, concepts, perceptions create feelings in your body, in your consciousness. They create a way of looking at things. Your words create perception. And so how you speak to yourself is very important. How you speak to others is very important. And that's your prayer. What's going on in your mind, that's your prayer. So it's very important to be conscious that you are both male and female in your relationship with yourself. That you're nurturing, that you're caring, that you're got that sweet love going on. You know, quite often I listen to what I'm saying to myself, and it's masculine energy, and it's like a coach. You know, you can do it, Tony. Let's go. What are you waiting for? Come on. I don't know how many times during the day I go, come on, to myself. Let's go. Come on, Tony. You can do this. You know, and how many times during the day luckily Lily is there to help me. She says, practice self-compassion. Love yourself. You're doing great, Tony. Everything's fine. Relax and love yourself. You are wonderful. Everything's perfect. One step at a time. You're doing fantastic. Don't worry about it, darling. So my mom used to tell me, don't worry about it. You're giving them rent-free space in your head. You know? Whenever you're talking about someone else, whenever I did that as a child, she goes, are they around? Are they here? Can they hear you? Like you're giving them rent-free space in your head. And so she taught me at a very young age that I was just talking to myself. And that voice was often very masculine, but a judgmental masculine. It was a judgmental God that I grew up to know. And you didn't worship that God out of love. You worshiped that God out of fear. Right? You need to fear God. That's like, as a young child, I was like, I don't want no God I have to fear. Why? I don't want to fear. I want to be in a loving relationship with God. And so, in order to do that, I truly believe we need to have both things going on. And since we're out of balance, I think perhaps at this point, we need to focus more on the feminine energy, the divine feminine. We're here to represent the divine, the spark of divinity within each of us. That's why we're here. It is our ultimate purpose on earth to unfold this divine energy and to allow our true nature to be manifest in a form which is most helpful in bringing about the expression or the greatest expression of our divine self. We are all here to be the greatest expression of God we can be in this world, the greatest Christ we can be. That's why we're here. And we can't do this in the form of masculine energy alone. We have to allow the divine feminine to be fully expressed. We have to think about, feel, envision what it would be like if we can consider the glorious healing that's available to us when we welcome back the divine feminine into our consciousness and into our world. I want us to feel that. I want us to experience. First, this is the law of manifestation. You first have to experience it within. Not just visualize it and say it with your words, but feel it like it's true now. Feel it. Welcome it back in. There was a time where you needed your mother for everything. You needed your mother to feed you. You needed your mother to pick you up and hold you. You needed your mother to put your clothes on you and keep you warm, or take your clothes off of you when you were cold, when you were hot. To change your diapers. To make sure you had a warm bed, a roof over your house, and caring and nurturing and cuddling and kisses and hugs and everything you needed. No matter how you reacted. You may be screaming and crying and running around and throwing things around the house, but mom was always like, okay, I'm going to take care of you and love you. I remember when I was a young, very young, I have memories of when I was like 2 years old. Does anybody else have those memories? A year and a half, 2 years old. It's like, how does that happen? And I remember this one sentence where I was like screaming and crying, angry, and my mom says, well, I'm still going to love you no matter what. I'm going to love you anyway, so you don't really have to do that. And a lot of us could think that way now as adults. We don't have to act out and be angry and vicious with one another, because God's going to love us anyway. Mother, Father, God is always what love is. And we are being loved in each moment. We don't have to do anything to earn that love, because God is love. And what we say here is God is love and only love. That God itself does not have an opposite. It cannot get angry with you, and you do not have to be afraid of the power of God. But you can access the power of God, and you can demonstrate the power of God in your own life. And that's why we're here, to empower you to demonstrate that innate, loving power of Father, Mother, God. We can't do this from the masculine energy alone. We have to allow the divine feminine to be expressed in us and for us and through us. We are here to be the greatest expression of God that we can be in this world, and we can't do it if we're out of balance. We have to have our balance. So, for the most part, I think a lot of the human race isn't even aware of the divine feminine or how to access that part of our spiritual nature. In my research, nice tune on that phone, whose ever phone that is. In my research for this message today, I came across two books which I found extremely fascinating. And the first one, the spark of divine is within each of us. It's our ultimate purpose to unfold the divine, and we need the Father and Mother. Now, in my research, I found that a lot of people did not just worship, but live by the principle that the divine was feminine, and at least as much as the masculine. And so there was much more balance at those times. So two of the books that I found in my research, one of them is called When God Was a Woman, Merlin Stone. And she took a lot of years to research this book. She spent approximately 10 years engaged in the research of the sometimes hidden and lesser known depictions of the sacred feminine from the European, from the Middle Eastern societies, Egypt. We all know about Cleopatra, but there was a lot more. And we've forgotten about these. These are what she describes as archetypical reflections of women as leaders, sacred entities, benevolent matriarchs. And she weaves them into a larger picture of how modern societies have grown to its imbalanced state at the moment. Now, the other book, and I've ordered it, so I don't have a whole lot to say about it because I haven't read it yet. The other book that I haven't read is this one, The Feminine Face of God, The Unfolding of the Sacred in Women. Now, what I have read is the introduction. And it looks to be an amazing book that's well written. And I want to read just a little bit to you because to me it was just fascinating. Her whole story is very mystical and fascinating. And some of these kind of things have happened to you where you just get these out of the blue spiritual experiences that you cannot ignore. That's what happened to her. I want to read just a little excerpt from her first chapter. The question that would not go away. Sekina. The word simply popped into my mind like an uninvited guest that wouldn't go away. At times it seemed to disappear, but then it would come again, quietly. This strange word, Sekina. It seemed to be waiting patiently for me to pay attention to it. After hearing it in my mind for 3 days, I tried saying it out loud. Sekina. It had an interesting sound. And when I said it, I felt a soft tug deep inside. I began to ask my friends if they knew what it meant. It sounded as if it could be Hebrew, but although I knew some Hebrew, it was not familiar to me. When my husband and friends were unable to help, I tried the library in our small town, but I found no answer either. Sekina. It was becoming more interesting now, demanding my attention. Still puzzling over what it could mean, I was sitting in my bedroom one morning when my friend Joan hurried through the door. She strode across the room and thrust a book into my hands. "Let's try this," she said. I glanced down at the blue cover on which the word Kabbalah was written. And I turned to the index, running my finger quickly down the S column. I read the word, Shekinah, and the meaning, the feminine face of God. What a beautiful, mystical experience that would not go away. Was tugging at something inside of her. She had to know what this meant. And what it meant was the feminine face of God. And she went on to write this book. I have it on order. So if you want to order it from Amazon, it's called The Feminine Face of God, The Unfolding of the Sacred in Women by Sherry Ruth Anderson. Now, she found it in the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah. How do you guys say it? Kabbalah. That's what I thought. The Kabbalah. And it's the more mystical part of the Jewish tradition. Every tradition has a mystical side. That's where you're going to find the deeper experiences and the truths that are common to all paths. You'll find it there. And she found it there. So this has become very popular. The Kabbalah has become very popular in modern times. But it dates back thousands and thousands of years. And it includes the feminine face of God. Now, we tend to try to just ignore that. You know, in modern times, it's been cut out. If you read when God was a woman, when women were gods, I was going to say. When God was a woman, she has studied how it was kind of systematically cut out of all the religious texts, the divine feminine. But the important thing to remember is it's unfolding in us. It doesn't matter what's happened to those texts. It doesn't matter. We can experience the divine feminine today, right here and now. We can experience that no matter who we are, right inside of us, right here, right now. And we can begin to, as I do, retranslate some of our spiritual texts. You know, when it's just really heavy on father, say father, mother, mother, father. Cut out father altogether if you want. It doesn't matter to me. Brothers and sisters, get in the habit of seeing God as spirit, experiencing God as spirit, worshiping God as spirit and in truth. So finally, this is one last thing that I want to read to you. It's a translation of the Lord's Prayer, commonly known as what? The Our Father. No. I found a great translation. They can't actually connect it to Jesus or Aramaic, but I don't care. It's been promoted as an Aramaic translation. But the more I researched, the more it's more of a modern translation. But I love it. And I want to read it to you because I found it a more mystical prayer to the Divine Mother rather than the Our Father. Here it is. O cosmic birther of all radiance and vibration, soften the ground of our being and carve out a space within us where your presence can abide. Fill us with your creativity so that we may be empowered to bear fruit, the fruit of your mission. Let each of our actions bear fruit in accordance with our desire. Endow us with the wisdom to produce and share what each being needs to grow and flourish. Untie the tangled threads of destiny that bind us. This is forgiveness. Untie the tangled threads of destiny that bind us as we release others from the entanglement of past mistakes. Do not let us be seduced by that which would divert us from our true purpose, but illuminate the opportunities of the present moment. For you are the ground and the fruitful vision, the birth, the power, the fulfillment. as all is gathered and made whole once again. And so it is. Very nice. If you think about it, the Creator is more like a birther than a ruler or a protector. It's more like a birther, a comforter, a healer, a giver, a nurturer, a sweet love. The feminine aspect here to me is much more appropriate in this prayer. A birther of what? Radiance, your light. Radiance and vibration. That's what it's birthing. It's not birthing a bunch of animals running around hurting each other, which is what human beings have become. It's birthing radiance and vibration. It's birthing love and only love. To me, that's what God is. God is love and only love. And that's what we are birthing when we worship God in spirit and in truth. I don't know if this is a historically correct translation of Jesus' prayer, but the point is the only person who knows what it really says in their hearts is the one praying it. And so this is as close as I could find to how I translate that prayer in my heart and in my mind. And so for me, it is an accurate translation of the Lord's Prayer. And I ask you, I invite you to do this practice at home. Take the Lord's Prayer, write it out on one piece of paper on this side, and write your own on the other side. Translate that prayer as to how you experience God, how you experience God on earth, how you experience your daily bread, how you experience forgiveness, how you experience the fulfillment of God in your life and in the world. That's what the Lord's Prayer is. So take that Lord's Prayer, the traditional version, put it on one side. This is a great exercise. And write your own version. And that version is going to mean a lot more to you. But when you put them together, that's when it really happens. Because you're taking something that has a lot of energy historically, and you're bringing it into the present moment. This is what it means for me. This is how I feel about it. This is how I am going to live my life. This is my intention. This is my prayer. My prayer today is that you allow the divine feminine to be fully alive in you, to be fully alive in your life, to honor yourself, to be compassionate with yourself, to allow that voice within you to be of the Mother God. If I want to teach only love, then my prayers and my faith and my words and my actions and my God must represent the divine feminine just as much as the divine masculine has to. I have to give the divine feminine the glory, all the glory that she deserves. Then I will be in balance. Then I will have balance within myself, because I am both masculine and feminine, and so are you. So is everyone. It's all within you. Yes. You are one, you are whole, you are complete, you are free, and you are God. The feminine face of God has to be just as visible. And perhaps, since we've been out of balance for so long, even more visible today for us to remember who and what we truly are. If you want to know God, get to know the Divine Mother. Get to know the Divine Feminine. And give thanks for everyone in your life who has loved you, for they have demonstrated that feminine, divine feminine energy. Everyone who's represented mother to you, give thanks for their love. Give thanks because it made you who you are today. It brought you right here now. Give thanks for the Divine Mother. I love you.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass., and visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.